So I shall try to give to you, peace be upon the issue, a direct reading from what I wrote down of a vision, a flash that I gave to my father. I shared it with my father. It is in relationship to my daughters, my sisters, my mothers, peace be upon them, and the world at large. But I'm not sure that what I wrote down is going to be coherent, so I'll do my best. That great god called Hippothysos had a stick that was measured, that was the measure of all time. Therosus and Practicalus were this great one's brothers, but not destined for the adventure of destiny. Aided by Uniculus and Individualis, brothers of their own, as air which has no mass of its own can fill the sails of great traveling vehicles, so too did the brothers Uniculus and Individualis fill the sails of the great god Hippothysos, vehicle of his life. And this was no mere god, but the goddess's variety, multiplicity, and thriving. So Uniculus and Individualis were the winds that filled the sails in the vehicle of variety, multiplicity, and thriving. This great triplicity enjoyed greatly being the chosen vehicle of the life of the mighty Hippothysos. But this made Hippothysos the unending butt of their jokes, of the triplicity's jokes, torturous jibes, and belittlings. For in all the strivings, alone and together, to bring order to their chaos, they could never achieve it themselves, but through being enthroned as the great vehicle of another, never for themselves. For if they ever did manage a vehicle of their own, they would suffer the very torment they made mighty Hippothysos suffer, belittling jokes and horrendous bigotries. This burden did not come easily upon Hippothysos. His brothers Therosus and Practicalus enslaved him in their orderly mechanistic forms, to which every one had a predetermined purpose and meaning. The problem for Hippothysos was that all causation became enslaved in the mechanisms his brothers Practicalus and Therosus built. Enslaved together, Hippothysos, purposes, and meaning as well as their child Cossacus. And it was their Cossacus's being that the trinity of goddesses would come to be his great vehicle of his life. Thriving multiplicity and variety, having a being of their own, without a cause, could never endure the jokes, tortures, jibes, and belittlings as a vehicle of life in itself. It was through purposes and meanings child, Cossacus, who found in Hippothysos his being. The two tyrant brothers, Thyrsos and Practicos, having enslaved Purpose, meaning their child Cossacus and brother Hippothysos, in their mechanisms, brought a great gift to their family. Their mother, Societas, turned a blind eye upon the enslavement of Hippothysos. Their father, Democritus, showered them with praise. But they had a sister, Luxurious by name, youngest of them all, and favored by their father, who visited her enslaved brother every day and felt horribly for him. The two tyrant brothers lacked for nothing. They were favored by their blind mother, Society, praised by their father, Democritus, and Luxurious, of no threat to them, so they thought. As all know, luxury is foe to none. Toiling within the mechanisms of the tyrant sons of Society and Democritus, their enslaved son Hippothysos befriended Cause, the enslaved, as the enslaved always do, purpose and meaning, and was introduced to their child, born in slavery, Cossacus. Being of privileged birth, Hippothysos was well taught of all the free world, and came to instruct this child of burdens with the urgings of his parents. The being taught of things he had never seen, heard, or by Hippothysos, or known by Hippothysos, Cossacus's, came to imagine what it was to be outside the enslaving mechanisms of the aristocracy of Democritus and Societas, built by their tyrant sons Thyrsos and Practicus.